First contact. The alien sun cast long shadows across the barren landscape as Zach Emerson took his first steps onto the surface of Kepler 186f. His boots crunched on the reddish soil, kicking up small clouds of dust that danced in the dim light. The human explorer paused, his breath fogging the inside of his helmet as he surveyed the alien world before him. Rocky outcroppings jutted from the ground like the bones of some long-dead giant. In the distance, low hills rolled towards the horizon, their slopes covered in patches of rusty vegetation. The sky above was a deep indigo, unmarred by clouds and dotted with unfamiliar stars. Zach activated his suit's external speakers. Mission Control, this is Emerson. I've made planetfall on Kepler 186f. Conditions match our predictions. Thin atmosphere, low gravity, temperature hovering around freezing. No signs of macroscopic life yet, but there's definitely something growing out there. He waited for the response, knowing it would take over 12 minutes for his words to reach Earth and another 12 for their reply to come back. In the meantime, Zach began setting up his base camp. The small habitat module detached from his lander, unfolding like an origami structure to create a pressurized living space. As the first human to set foot on this distant world, Zach felt the weight of history on his shoulders. Mankind had dreamed of this moment for centuries, making contact with a truly alien biosphere, one that had evolved completely independently from Earth life. The discovery of simple microbial life on Mars had been groundbreaking, but this was something else entirely. Kepler 186 was the first Earth-sized planet found orbiting in the habitable zone of another star. When follow-up studies detected atmospheric oxygen and complex organic molecules, it had set off a frenzy of excitement in the scientific community. Now, after years of preparation and a journey of over 500 light-years, humanity's first emissary had arrived. As the habitat finished deploying, Zach's radio crackled to life. "Copy that, Emerson. Glad to hear you made it down safely. Remember your mission protocols and proceed with caution. We'll be eagerly awaiting your first data uploads." "Understood, Control. I'm going to finish setting up camp and then conduct an initial survey of the landing site." Emerson out. Over the next few hours, Zach methodically unpacked his equipment and configured the habitat's life support systems. By the time he finished, the alien sun was sinking towards the horizon, bathing the landscape in deep crimson light. Zach knew he should probably rest, but his excitement got the better of him. He decided to take a short walk to stretch his legs and get a feel for the terrain before nightfall. Making sure his suit was sealed and life support nominal, he set out from the camp. The low gravity made walking a bit awkward at first, each step sending him bounding further than expected. But Zach quickly adapted, finding a loping gait that let him cover ground quickly. He headed towards a particularly interesting rock formation he had spotted earlier. As he drew closer, Zach realized the formation wasn't entirely natural. Nestled among the wind-carved stones was what appeared to be a deliberately constructed structure. His heart began to race as he approached. Could this be evidence of intelligent alien life? The structure was small, perhaps only chest-high to Zach. It was made of the same reddish stone as the surrounding rocks, but smoothed and fitted together with obvious precision. Symbols or writing of some kind were etched into its surface. Zach's hand shook slightly as he reached out to touch the alien artifact. His gloved fingers had barely brushed its surface when a voice rang out, causing him to leap back in surprise. "Stop. Do not touch the sacred stone." Zach whirled around, searching for the source of the voice. At first he saw nothing, then movement caught his eye. A figure emerged from behind a nearby rock, and Zach found himself face to face with a living, breathing alien. The being before him was roughly humanoid in shape, but the similarities ended there. It stood just over a meter tall, with 4 multi-jointed limbs and mottled gray-green skin that seemed to shift and ripple. Its face was dominated by 3 large, bulbous eyes arranged in a triangle. Instead of a mouth, it had what looked like a short proboscis. For a long moment, Human and alien regarded each other in silence. Zach's mind raced, all his years of training and preparation seeming to evaporate in the face of this unprecedented encounter. First contact protocols dictated he should attempt non-threatening communication, but he found himself frozen in place. It was the alien who broke the silence. "You are not of this world," it said, its voice high and melodic. "Why have you come here, strange one?" Zach swallowed hard, finding his voice at last. I come in peace," he managed. "My name is Zach. I'm a scientist, an explorer from a distant world called Earth. We've been searching the stars for signs of life like yours." The alien's eyes blinked in sequence, giving the unsettling impression that its gaze was rotating. "I am called Nyla," it replied. "This world is under the protection of my people. You should not be here, Earth being." "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to trespass," Zach said quickly. "We had no idea your people were here. Our instruments detected no signs of advanced civilization. Are there many of you on this planet?" Nyla's skin rippled, perhaps the alien equivalent of a shrug. "We are few, and we live in harmony with the world. Unlike you, it seems, with your machines and structures." There was clear disapproval in Nyla's tone, and Zach realized he needed to salvage this encounter quickly. "Please, we mean no harm to your world or your people. We only wish to learn, to understand. There is so much we could share with each other." The alien regarded him silently for a long moment. Then, to Zach's relief, it nodded, or at least dipped its head in what he took to be an affirmative gesture. "Perhaps," Nyla said, "but you must respect our ways, Earth being. The stone you nearly touched is sacred to us. It contains the wisdom of our ancestors." Zach nodded eagerly. "Of course, I apologize. I had no idea. Please, can you tell me more about your people? How long have you lived on this world?" But before Nyla could respond, the ground beneath their feet began to tremble. Zach stumbled, nearly losing his footing in the low gravity. Nyla's limbs splayed out, gripping the rocky ground for stability. "Earthquake," Zach wondered aloud, but Nyla's eyes had gone wide with fear. "No," the alien said. "Something worse. We must flee now." The tremors intensified, and a deep rumbling filled the air. The rocks around them began to shift and crack. Suddenly, the ground between Zach and Nyla split open. Nyla leaped back, but lost its balance. To Zach's horror, he saw the alien begin to slip towards the widening fissure. Without thinking, Zach lunged forward. His enhanced strength, a product of genetic engineering for long-term space travel, allowed him to easily snag Nyla's arm. With a mighty heave, he pulled the alien to safety just as a gout of steam erupted from the crack in the ground. "What's happening?" Zach shouted over the noise. "Geyser eruption," Nyla replied, voice quavering. "They are rare, but deadly. We must reach high ground quickly." More fissures were opening up around them, venting superheated steam and gases. Zach's suit could protect him for a while, but he knew Nyla had no such protection. He made a split-second decision. "Hold on to me," he told the alien. "I'll get us out of here." Before Nyla could protest, Zach scooped the surprisingly light alien into his arms and began to run. His powerful legs, aided by the low gravity, sent them bounding across the landscape in great leaps. Behind them, the ground continued to fracture and heave. Zach's helmet HUD indicated rising temperatures and dangerous gas levels, but he pushed on. Nyla clung to him tightly, all four limbs wrapped around his torso. They reached the base of a hill and Zach began to climb, each bound carrying them meters up the slope. Just as they crested the top of the hill, a massive eruption shook the ground. Zach turned to see a column of steam and debris shooting skyward from where they had been standing minutes before. The sacred stone structure had vanished, swallowed by the angry planet. Zach set Nyla down gently, both of them panting from the exertion and fading adrenaline. For a long moment, they simply stared at the devastation below. Then Nyla turned to Zach, eyes blinking rapidly. You saved me," the alien said, voice filled with wonder. "Why?" I was hostile to you, a stranger. Zack shrugged. It was the right thing to do. On my world, we believe in helping others in need, regardless of our differences. Nyla was silent for a moment, processing this. Then, to Zack's surprise, the alien reached out and placed a hand on his arm. The touch sent a strange tingling sensation through him, even through his suit. Perhaps, Nyla said softly, there is more to learn from your people than I first thought, Zack of Earth. Come, let us find shelter. There is much we should discuss. As they made their way down the far side of the hill, Zack felt a mixture of excitement and trepidation. This first contact had not gone at all as he had expected or trained for. But as he glanced at the alien walking beside him, he couldn't help but feel that something momentous had begun, not just for him, but for both their species. The dying light of the alien sun painted the sky in fantastic hues as human and alien walked side by side, two children of distant stars united by chance and circumstance. Whatever came next, Zack knew that the universe would never be the same. Uncharted bonds. As the twin moons of Kepler 186 rose over the horizon, casting an ethereal glow across the alien landscape, Zack and Nyla found themselves huddled in the shelter of a crystalline cave. The aftermath of the geyser eruption had reshaped the terrain, leaving behind a glittering wonderland of mineral formations that seemed to pulse with an inner light. Zack's suit sensors were working overtime, analyzing the unique composition of the cave walls. This is incredible, he murmured, more to himself than to Nyla. The crystalline structures are unlike anything we've seen before. They seem to be reacting to our presence somehow. Nyla's three eyes blinked in sequence, a gesture Zack was beginning to recognize as curiosity. The singing caves, the alien said softly. Our people have known of them for generations, but their true nature eludes even our eldest sages. As if in response to Nyla's words, a faint humming began to emanate from the walls. It started as a single pure note, then gradually expanded into a complex harmony that seemed to resonate within Zack's very bones. It's singing, Zack breathed, awestruck. He reached out a hand towards the nearest crystal, but Nyla quickly intercepted him. Careful, the alien warned. The song can be intoxicating to the unprepared mind. It is said that some who venture too deep into the caves never return, lost in the melodies of creation itself. Zack nodded, forcing himself to focus. The music was indeed captivating, and he could feel it tugging at the edges of his consciousness. He shook his head to clear it, then turned to face Nyla. Thank you, he said sincerely. I can see I have a lot to learn about your world. Perhaps we can teach each other. Nyla's skin rippled in what Zack was beginning to interpret as agreement. Yes, I believe that would be beneficial. Your actions during the eruption have shown me that there is more to your kind than I first assumed. As they settled in for the night, Zack and Nyla began to exchange information about their respective species and worlds. Zack learned that Nyla's people, the Luminae, had evolved on Kepler 186 over millions of years. They possessed a deep, almost symbiotic connection to the planet itself, able to sense its moods and rhythms in ways that defied human understanding. In turn, Zack shared stories of Earth and humanity's journey to the stars. Nyla seemed particularly fascinated by the concept of human emotions, which were far more intense and varied than those of the Luminae. You feel so much, Nyla marveled, head tilted in contemplation. It must be overwhelming at times. Zack chuckled. It can be, but our emotions also drive us to great achievements. Love, curiosity, compassion. These are the forces that brought me across the stars to your world. As they talked, Zack noticed something strange happening. The crystals around them seemed to be shifting, growing, and changing color in response to their conversation. It was as if the cave itself was listening, recording their historic exchange in its very structure. Nyla, Zack said, gesturing to the walls. Is this normal? The alien's eyes widened slightly. No, it is not. The caves have never responded like this before, at least not in any of our legends. Nyla reached out, gently touching one of the crystals. It's as if they are trying to understand us, both of us. Suddenly, the humming intensified, and the crystal beneath Nyla's hand began to glow brightly. Zack watched in amazement as tendrils of light seemed to flow from the crystal into Nyla's body. Nyla, are you all right? Zack moved to pull the alien away, but Nyla held up a hand to stop him. I am fine, Nyla said, voice filled with wonder. More than fine. I feel. Before Nyla could finish the sentence, a pulse of energy rippled through the cave. Zack's suit sensors went haywire, and he felt a strange tingling sensation throughout his body. For a moment, his vision blurred, and he could have sworn he saw not the inside of the cave, but a vast network of energy connecting everything: the crystals, the planet, Nyla, and himself. As quickly as it had come, the sensation faded. Zack blinked rapidly, his head spinning. What was that? Nyla turned to face him, and Zack gasped. The alien's eyes were glowing with the same inner light as the crystals, and faint lines of luminescence traced patterns across Nyla's skin. I understand now, Nyla said, voice resonating with newfound power. The caves, the planet, they have been waiting for this moment, for our two species to meet. Zack's scientific mind raced to make sense of what was happening. Are you saying the planet itself is conscious? That it orchestrated our meetings somehow? Nyla shook its head. Not conscious as you would understand it, but alive, yes, and far more vast and ancient than either of our species could have imagined. And now it has given us a gift. What kind of gift? Zack asked, both excited and apprehensive. Nyla reached out and took Zack's hand. The moment their skin touched, even through Zack's suit, he felt a jolt of energy. Suddenly, he could sense Nyla's thoughts and emotions as clearly as his own. More than that, he could feel the planet beneath them, the intricate web of life that covered its surface, even the distant warmth of the star they orbited. Connection, Nyla said simply, its voice echoing both in Zack's ears and in his mind. The barrier between our species has been broken. We can truly understand each other now, in a way no translator or diplomat could ever achieve. Zack staggered back, overwhelmed by the influx of sensations and knowledge. This is incredible, he managed to say. But why? Why would the planet do this? Nyla's expression turned grave. Because we will need it, Zack of Earth. I can sense it now. A darkness approaching, a threat to both our peoples. The planet has given us this gift so that we may face it together. As if to emphasize Nyla's words, the crystals around them pulsed with urgent, discordant tones. Zack felt a chill run down his spine, not just from Nyla's warning, but from the absolute certainty he could feel behind it. What kind of threat? He asked, already dreading the answer. Nyla's eyes met his, filled with a mixture of fear and determination. I do not know exactly, but I can feel it. A hunger, a coldness, approaching from the depths of space. It has consumed other worlds before, and now it has set its sights on ours. Zack took a deep breath, trying to process everything that had happened. In the span of a few hours, he had gone from being the first human to set foot on an alien world to being psychically linked with an alien species and warned of an impending cosmic threat. It was almost too much to bear. But as he looked at Nyla, felt the connection between them and the planet thrumming with potential, he knew that he couldn't run from this. Whatever was coming, they would face it together. All right, Zack said, squaring his shoulders. Then we've got work to do. We need to warn both our peoples, prepare defenses. But first, we need to understand exactly what this gift of the planets entails. What are we capable of now? Nyla nodded, a gesture picked up from Zack through their new connection. Yes, we must explore the depths of our new abilities. And quickly. I fear we may not have much time. As if in agreement, the crystal cave hummed with renewed intensity. The light within the formations pulsed like a heartbeat, driving home the urgency of their situation. Zack and Nyla exchanged a look of shared determination, both knowing that the fate of two worlds, and perhaps many more, now rested on their shoulders. Together, human and alien stepped deeper into the cave, ready to unlock the secrets of their newfound connection and prepare for the cosmic storm that loomed on the horizon. The first notes of an epic saga were being written, etched into the very crystals of Kepler 186f, a testament to the power of understanding between two children of distant stars. Cosmic Awakening. The days that followed were a whirlwind of discovery and preparation. Zach and Neela emerged from the singing caves forever changed, their minds linked in ways that defied conventional understanding. As they trekked across the alien landscape of Kepler 186f, they began to unlock the true potential of their newfound abilities. It started small at first. Zach found he could sense the life forces of the strange flora and fauna around them, feeling the pulse of the planet's biosphere like a second heartbeat. Nyla, in turn, gained insights into human ingenuity and problem-solving, their mind racing with new possibilities. But as their connection deepened, something truly extraordinary began to unfold. "Zach, look," Nyla exclaimed, pointing to a cluster of crystalline growths similar to those in the cave. As they watched, the crystals began to resonate in harmony with their thoughts, growing and reshaping themselves into intricate structures. Zach's eyes widened in amazement. "It's responding to us, to our combined consciousness." He reached out, concentrating, and a tendril of crystal extended towards his hand, forming a perfect replica of Earth in miniature. "The planet itself is becoming an extension of our will," Nyla marveled. "But we must be cautious. Such power could easily be misused." Zach nodded gravely, dispelling the crystal Earth. "You're right. We need to establish some ground rules, ethical guidelines for how we use these abilities." As they continued their journey, Zach and Neela honed their skills, pushing the boundaries of what was possible. They discovered they could manipulate the environment around them to a degree, accelerating plant growth, purifying water sources, and even calming volatile weather patterns. But their most astonishing breakthrough came when they reached the summit of a towering mountain range. As they gazed out at the vast alien horizon, something clicked into place in their shared consciousness. Suddenly, their perception expanded exponentially. They could sense not just the life on the planet's surface, but the intricate dance of subatomic particles, the ebb and flow of gravitational fields, even the faint whispers of cosmic radiation from distant stars. "My God," Zach breathed, his mind reeling from the influx of information. "It's like we've tapped into the fundamental forces of the universe itself." Nyla's form shimmered with excitement. "Yes, I can feel it too. The boundaries between energy and matter, space and time, they're all interconnected, part of a greater whole." As they stood there, minds expanding to encompass the cosmos, a chilling realization struck them both simultaneously. They could sense it now. The threat that loomed on the horizon, it was vast, ancient, and utterly alien, a force of entropy and destruction that had consumed countless worlds across the galaxy. "The Void Collective," Nyla whispered, the name appearing in their shared consciousness. A hive mind of energy beings, driven by an insatiable hunger for new sensations and experiences. They consume entire civilizations, absorbing their knowledge and essence. Zach's fists clenched, and now they set their sights on our worlds. Earth, Kepler 186f. We're all in danger. The gravity of the situation settled over them like a heavy shroud. They knew they had to act fast, to prepare both their peoples for the coming storm. But how could they hope to stand against a force that had laid waste to entire star systems? As if in answer to their unspoken question, a surge of energy pulsed through their connection. Visions flashed before their eyes, glimpses of ancient technologies, long-lost secrets of the cosmos, and untapped wells of power hidden within the very fabric of space-time. "The planet," Nyla gasped, "it's showing us the way. The tools we need to fight back. They've been here all along, waiting for beings capable of wielding them." Zach's mind raced with the implications. "We need to gather allies, pool our resources. Your people's connection to the planet, humanity's drive and adaptability. Together, we might stand a chance. Their shared consciousness expanded further, reaching across the vast distances of space. They could sense the faint echoes of other minds, other worlds facing similar threats. A network of resistance was forming, spanning galaxies, united against the encroaching darkness. "We are not alone in this fight," Nyla declared, their voice resonating with newfound purpose. "There are others out there, seeking alliances, preparing for the coming war." Zack nodded, a plan already forming in their shared mind. "Then let's give them hope. We'll turn Kepler 186f into a beacon, a rallying point for all those who stand against the Void Collective." As if responding to their resolve, the crystalline structures around them began to pulse with energy. The very mountain beneath their feet trembled, and then, with a sound like the birth of a star, a massive column of light erupted from the peak, shooting into the sky and beyond, visible across light years of space. Zack and Nyla stood at the heart of the energy beam, their forms merging and separating, human and alien united as one. The power flowing through them was intoxicating, terrifying, and beautiful all at once. "This is just the beginning," Zack said, his voice overlapping with Nyla's in perfect harmony. "We have so much to learn, so much to prepare." Nyla's eyes gleamed with determination, "But we'll face it together. Two species, one purpose." As the light of their cosmic beacons stretched across the stars, carrying a message of hope and defiance, Zack and Nyla knew that the real battle was yet to come. The Void Collective was approaching, drawn by the very signal meant to rally their allies. But for the first time since learning of the threat, they felt a glimmer of true hope. They had each other. They had the power of an entire planet at their disposal, and soon they would have an army of like-minded beings from across the cosmos. The stage was set for an epic confrontation that would determine the fate of not just their two worlds, but of life itself throughout the galaxy. And at the center of it all stood a human and an alien, their destinies intertwined, ready to face whatever challenges the universe might throw their way. As the energy beam continued to pulse, carrying their call to arms across the cosmic void, Zack and Nyla clasped hands, their minds and hearts beating as one. Whatever came next, they would face it together. A union of two worlds, standing strong against the encroaching dark. Quantum crucible. The cosmic beacon pulsed across the stars, a clarion call that echoed through the vast emptiness of space. As Zack and Nyla stood atop the crystalline mountain, their merged consciousness expanded. They began to feel the first ripples of response. Distant minds touched theirs, curious, cautious, hopeful. Alien intelligences beyond human imagining made contact, drawn by the promise of alliance against the Void Collective. But with each new connection came a sobering realization. The enemy was vast, ancient, and terrifyingly powerful. "We need more than just allies," Zack said, his voice resonating through their shared mind space. "We need an edge, something the Void Collective won't expect." Nyla's form shimmered with agreement. "Yes, and I believe Kepler 186 at itself may hold the key." Their joined consciousness delved deep into the planet's core, past layers of rock and crystal, into realms where the very laws of physics began to break down. Here, in a crucible of unimaginable heat and pressure, they found something extraordinary. It's like a quantum computer," Zack marveled, his scientific mind struggling to comprehend what they were seeing. "But on a planetary scale." "The planet's core," Nyla explained, "it's not just molten rock. It's a network of exotic matter, entangled particles dancing in perfect harmony. Our ancestors sensed it, but never understood its true nature." As they explored this cosmic computer, Zack and Nyla began to grasp its potential. It was a tool of unparalleled power, capable of manipulating the very fabric of space-time. With it, they might be able to create defenses the Void Collective could never overcome. But there was a catch. "The core is unstable," Nyla said, a note of concern in their mental voice. "Tapping into its power could have catastrophic consequences." Zack felt a chill run through him. You mean it could destroy the planet? Worse, Nyla replied. It could create a cascading quantum event that would ripple across the galaxy. We'd be risking not just our world, but countless others. The weight of this knowledge settled over them like a shroud. They had found a weapon of incomprehensible power, but using it might cause more destruction than the very enemy they sought to defeat. As they grappled with this dilemma, a new presence made itself known in their expanded consciousness. It was vast, ancient, and achingly familiar. The planet, Zack breathed. It's alive, truly alive. The sense of an immense, patient intelligence enveloped them. Kepler 186 was more than just a world. It was a living entity, one that had watched over the evolution of life on its surface for billions of years. And now it offered them a choice. Images flashed through their shared mind, visions of possible futures, branching timelines stretching into infinity. In one, they saw themselves unleashing the full power of the planetary core, obliterating the Void Collective, but leaving a swath of destroyed worlds in their wake. In another, they stood firm with their allies, fighting a desperate battle against overwhelming odds. But there was a third path, one that glimmered with dangerous potential. Symbiosis, Nyla whispered, understanding dawning. Not just between us, but with the planet itself. Zack saw it too, a fusion of human, Luminae, and the living world of Kepler 186f. It would require sacrifice, a fundamental transformation of their very beings. But it also offered hope, a chance to create something entirely new, something that might stand against the cosmic horror that approached. If we do this, Zack said slowly, we won't be human and Luminae anymore. We'll be something else. Nyla's form pulsed with a mix of fear and excitement. Yes, we would be reborn as guardians, extensions of the planet's will, but we would lose much of ourselves in the process. As they stood on the precipice of this monumental decision, the first tendrils of the Void Collective entered the outskirts of the solar system. They could feel the encroaching darkness, the insatiable hunger that drove it forward. Time was running out. Zack took a deep breath, his mind racing. Everything he had ever known, his identity as a human, his connections to Earth, all of it would be transformed if they took this step. But the alternative was unthinkable. I'm ready, he said, surprising himself with the conviction in his voice. For Earth, for Kepler 186f, for all the worlds that stand against the darkness, I'm willing to make this sacrifice. Nyla's eyes shimmered with emotion. As am I. For the future of all life, we must become something greater than ourselves. Their decision made, Zack and Nyla opened themselves fully to the consciousness of Kepler 186f. The mountain beneath them began to shake, crystals growing and reshaping themselves at impossible speeds. Energy crackled through the air as the planet itself seemed to hold its breath. In that moment of transformation, as human and Luminae merged with the very essence of a living world, a new power was born. It burst forth in a blinding flash of light, visible across half the galaxy. When the light faded, where Zack and Nyla had stood, a new being hovered, a creature of crystalline flesh and cosmic energy, neither human nor Luminae, but something gloriously, terrifyingly new. Its voice, when it spoke, resonated with the power of a world made manifest. We are the quantum guardians, and we stand ready to face the void. As the first waves of the Void Collective entered the system, they found not a planet ripe for consumption, but an awakened cosmic entity fueled by the combined will of two species and the living essence of a world. The battle for the fate of countless civilizations was about to begin, and at its heart stood a being born of sacrifice, love, and the unbreakable bonds between two children of distant stars. The universe held its breath, waiting to see if this newborn god would be enough to stem the tide of cosmic entropy. The fate of galaxies hung in the balance as the quantum guardians prepared to make their stand against the encroaching dark. Cosmic crescendo. The Void Collective surged into the Kepler 186 system. a writhing mass of dark energy and consumed consciousnesses. But where they expected to find a vulnerable world ripe for assimilation, they encountered something unprecedented, a planet that fought back. The Quantum Guardians, the fusion of Zach, Nyla, and the living essence of Kepler-186f, rose to meet the threat. Their crystalline form pulsed with otherworldly energies, each facet reflecting the combined knowledge and determination of two species united against extinction. "We are the antithesis of your hunger," the Guardian's voice boomed across space, a symphony of human resolve, luminary wisdom, and planetary power. "We are creation in the face of destruction, hope against despair." The void recoiled, momentarily stunned by this unexpected resistance. But its hunger was eternal, its drive to consume unrelenting. It lashed out with tendrils of null energy, seeking to unravel the very atoms of its opponent. But the Guardians were ready. Drawing upon the quantum computational power of Kepler-186's core, they rewrote the laws of physics in localized bubbles of spacetime. The void's attacks splashed harmlessly against shields of altered reality, unable to penetrate defenses that existed outside conventional understanding. As the battle raged, the Guardians reached out across the cosmos with their expanded consciousness. They touched the minds of countless species, sharing knowledge, coordinating strategies, and igniting sparks of resistance on worlds the void had fought long subjugated. On Earth, scientists and military leaders gasped as their computers came alive with impossible data streams and battle plans beyond human imagining. Zach's final message played across screens worldwide: "Stand together. Hope is not lost. The universe itself fights by our side." Elsewhere, on planets circling distant suns, oppressed species looked to the skies and saw new constellations forming. The light of Kepler-186's resistance, burning bright enough to ignite revolutions light years away. The Void Collective, for the first time in eons, knew fear. It had consumed galaxies, absorbed the knowledge of 1,000 civilizations, but never had it faced a foe like this, a living weapon forged from the combined will of an entire world. In desperation, it unleashed its full might. Reality itself groaned under the strain as the void tore open rifts in spacetime, seeking to swallow Kepler-186 whole. The Guardians met this onslaught with grim determination. They delved into the quantum heart of the planet, tapping directly into the exotic matter computer at its core. Time slowed, each picosecond stretching into subjective eternities as they calculated, planned, and executed at speeds beyond mortal comprehension. Kepler-186 shuddered, its continents rearranging as the Guardians reshaped the planet into a vast machine of war. Mountains became energy projectors, oceans transformed into coolant systems for reality-warping engines. The entire world became a living weapon, every atom singing in harmony with its protector's will. As the final battle reached its crescendo, the Guardians unleashed their ultimate gambit. They reached through time and space, touching every mind that had ever been absorbed by the Void Collective. With surgical precision, they rekindled the sparks of individual consciousness that the Void had fought long extinguished. Across the battlefield, pinpricks of light began to appear within the roiling darkness of the Void. The consumed souls of countless species, awakened from their millennia-long slumber, began to fight back from within. The Void Collective's unified will fractured, assaulted from without by the Guardians, and from within by its own victims. It thrashed in agony, its hunger momentarily forgotten as it struggled simply to maintain cohesion. Seizing this moment, the Guardians struck. They wove a quantum lattice of unimaginable complexity, a cosmic net that began to unravel the very essence of the void. But as they did so, they came to a profound realization: destruction alone would not end this cycle. The hunger that drove the void was a fundamental force of the universe, as essential as gravity or electromagnetism. In that moment of clarity, fueled by Zach's human compassion, Nyla's luminary wisdom, and the cosmic perspective of Kepler-186 itself, the Guardians made a choice that would reshape the fate of galaxies. They opened themselves fully, offering not destruction, but transformation. "We see you," they communicated to the fracturing void. "We understand the emptiness that drives you. Let us show you another way." And with that, the Guardians began to absorb the Void Collective, not to destroy or assimilate, but to heal. They took its hunger and showed its satiation, its emptiness, and filled it with purpose. The consumed souls, rather than being freed, were gently integrated into a new cosmic tapestry. The battle that had raged across star systems collapsed into a single point of blinding radiance. For a moment that stretched into infinity, all of space seemed to hold its breath. When awareness returned, the Void Collective was gone. In its place floated an entity of impossible complexity, the Guardians, transformed yet again, now a shimmering cosmic lattice that contained within it the essence of every being the Void had ever touched. This new entity, born from the union of creation and destruction, protector and devourer, sent a telepathic pulse across the universe. Every sentient being, from the smallest microorganism to the most advanced alien civilizations, felt a moment of profound connection. "We are the harmony," the entity transmitted, "forged in conflict, tempered by compassion. We shall stand eternal watch against the darkness between stars, guardians of the delicate balance between entropy and growth." As the newborn harmony spread its awareness across galaxies, the core of Kepler 186 pulsed one final time. In a small clearing, where a human and a Lumine had once first met, two crystalline statues appeared. One bore the likeness of Zach, the other of Nela, a monument to the individuals whose sacrifice and love had saved countless worlds. At the base of the statues, a plaque shimmered into existence, bearing words in every language of every species touched by this cosmic drama. "From two worlds, one destiny. In unity, we found strength to face the darkness. Remember us not for the battle won, but for the understanding gained. The universe is vast, but in the end we are all stardust, bound together in the great cosmic dance." As the light of a reborn cosmos dawned, the saga of Zach and Nyla, of humanity and the Lumine, of Kepler 186 and Earth, became legend, a testament to the power of connection, of bridging differences, and of facing the darkness not with fear, but with hope and unity. And somewhere, in the vast tapestry of the reborn universe, the essences that were once Zach and Nela smiled, together for eternity in the cosmic ballet they had helped orchestrate,